Hey y'all, this week on Empty Pocket Speed Shop, we try to get a Chevy truck going that's been off the road for about 10 years. We're gonna see how that goes. This will be my first time trying to do a revival video. I'm doing it just a little bit different. I went and drug the truck up on my trailer with a winch and brought it home. So some of it I have footage of, some of it I don't. I can show you guys what the truck looked like when I first pulled up to look at it. And I have done a little bit of work to it already, but I'll get you guys caught up on it. So stick with me. This week on Empty Pocket Speed Shop, we're gonna get a 1991 Chevy four-wheel drive truck going that hasn't ran in about 10 years. So let's see if we can make it happen. Hey y'all, Sean here, Empty Pocket Speed Shop. To all of my tens of fans that I disappointed by not getting my video posted on Friday night, I just want to say sorry. And to the one fan that actually called me out on it, and you know who you are, I'll try not to let it happen again. But if you guys have seen the news from across the world here this weekend in the southeast, we had a lot of storms, a lot of damage, a lot of things going on, and I just could not get the footage edited and get it out on Friday night. Had a lot of stuff going on this weekend, got a lot of stuff going on in general, but so there you go. I just threw this in here, inserted it in the beginning of the video to let you guys know why I couldn't get my video out on Friday night. But here's this week's video, dealing with fixing this old truck. Hopefully I will be able to get back on schedule and have a new video out Friday night. So you guys keep watching, like, subscribe, share, tell your buddies about it, help me grow the channel, all that kind of stuff that I always say. So enjoy the video. Alright, here we go again. Didn't get much footage of me loading that other truck and doing all that. And I may not get a lot of footage of me loading the next truck, but I'm headed back out in the middle of nowhere to load up another one of the junk trucks that I bought. So get everything home, and we will start trying to put some things together and make them run, get them ready to sell. I'm only buying these trucks to fix and resell. So if anybody's watching this, if you happen to be close enough to Middle Tennessee that you think you'd want to come get one of them, then definitely leave a comment or search Facebook Marketplace. Once I get to that point, I don't have any of them listed right now, but for now, you know, if you thought you might want one of these trucks after I get it running or before I get it running, I don't know, leave a comment on the video and I'll reach out to you and we'll figure out a way to communicate. I don't have an email set up for Empty Pocket Speed Shop yet. Maybe that's something I need to do. So I can put an email address on my videos for people that want to reach out. But, got the Facebook page, Empty Pocket Speed Shop. and the YouTube channel, so you can send messages through either one of those right now, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. But for now, just going out to try to load another truck. Let me get back to you guys shortly. All right, y'all, got this thing loaded up, brought it home. It's just an old, looks like an old forestry truck or something like that. I don't know how long for sure it's been off the road. The last time it had a license plate on it was 2017. So I'm gonna assume that that's the last time it was driven. I didn't video any of me trying to get it loaded on a trailer. That hub right there didn't have a tire on it, and it was sitting in the mud, so I took a tire with me, got that on there, but that brake is locked up, so luckily my winch was able to drag it up on the trailer either way. But it's just an old 3/4 ton 4-wheel drive, got a 5.7 throttle body injected in it. It's rough. Got just a little bit of rust in the cab corner. The other one looks the same way. Oh, the seat is, I don't even know what that is. Somebody, I said, they had a battery disconnect in the glove box over there. But I got this thing, got it home. It's all right, guys. I think I've already done one walk around video, and I can't even remember what I said on that one. So I'll just get you guys caught up on what I've done so far. I was able to, and I didn't video it, but I was able to rig up my starter and throw a hot battery in this thing. I can show you guys that. And I pulled the air cleaner off, and there we go. I threw a hot battery in it, hooked up my little starter button, took the air cleaner off, sprayed some brake clean in it, and got the engine to fire on brake clean. And the engine actually sounded okay. I should have videoed that, but I didn't. I was kind of in a hurry that day, so I didn't have time to really do anything like that. So after I heard the engine fire, I thought, well, I need to start working on figuring out why the fuel pump's not working. So I pulled the fuel pump out last night. Let me see if what did I do with that? Here we go. So it was about to get dark last night, so I don't have any of this. There's the old fuel pump. You can see how terrible that thing looks. So it was all corroded and rotten. So I went and bought a new fuel pump. I've got it in the shop. This bed, after I got it home and kind of cleaned it up a little bit, the bed is completely, the outside of the bed, let me show you guys this. I think when I did the walk around, you could probably see, outside of this bed looks pretty good. It's not beat up, it's not rusted on the outside, but they must have hauled a lot of dirt and sand, and I mean, that's what that is over there, a lot of dirt and sand, pea gravel, river rock, stuff like that. Well, they left too much of it in the bed, and it rotted. Spots all over the bed, was just completely rotten. So in order to make things quicker yesterday, I just cut a big hole in the bed to get to the fuel pump, because I'm gonna have to replace at minimum the bed floor. I may be replacing the entire bed on this thing. But when I got the pump pulled out last night and looked down in here, I can't show you because I don't have good enough video equipment. Inside the tank's all rusty and nasty also. So when I went up there to buy the new fuel pump, I just ordered a new fuel tank, and hopefully I ordered the right one. So what I'm gonna do right now, or momentarily, I gotta get some stuff set up. I hate working on vehicles out here in the yard. Not because I don't like working on stuff outside, but because I can't do very good on the video, and sound quality suffers a little bit. But I'm gonna get set up here in just a second and drop the fuel tank on this thing. And then by the time I get the fuel tank out and get a couple other things done, the new fuel tank was supposed to arrive this morning about right now. All right, so as you can see, we're out here. The back wheels for the truck, the tires were so dry rotted that they were seeping air. They would hold air for a little while, but they were leaking down pretty bad. So I found a used pair of tires. I don't have a tire changer in my shop, so they're up at my buddy's shop getting some used that are okay. They'll get us on the road. A couple of used tires. When I brought it home, this left rear was locked up, would not roll. I had to drag it up on the trailer with the tire sliding. But I soaked it down with PB Blaster yesterday, so after I get the tank dropped, I'm going to try to get that drum off, and that way if I need some brake parts, I'm hoping everything just needs to be lubed up, and I can clean it up with some brake clean, put it back together, so I don't have to buy any brake parts. Of course, I don't know if any of the brakes work or not. Since that brake was locked up, I never touched the brake pedal. So I don't know if it has brakes. It had a wheel dragging, so I drug it up on the trailer with a winch, and then I'm not going to turn the camera around and show you, but there's a stump back here where I cut a tree down, and I chained the back of the truck to that stump and drove out from under it. So that's the way I unloaded it. That's why it's sitting where it's sitting, because it's in line with a stump that I could use to drag it off the trailer. So here we are. I'm going to get the tank down, get that drum off, and then see what I need. I'm gonna run uptown and get the new tank, and today's goal is to get the tank and the pump and everything hooked up, flush out the fuel lines going toward the front. Maybe I got a new fuel filter and stuff to put on it too, and I'm gonna try to see if it'll run on its own with the new tank, new pump. I gotta go get some fresh fuel, but that's the goal for today, is to get the tank and the pump, and maybe even get the brakes situated, get the back wheels put back on it. And if I can do all that where it'll fire up and run, hopefully the transmission still works on this thing, and if it does, we're going to pull it in the shop, and then we'll be able to work on it inside instead of out here, because today is going to be beautiful here in Middle Tennessee. It's going to be sunshine and 73, I think, in a little bit. It's not right now, but it will be after lunch. So great day to work outside. Later this week, possible tornadoes and thunderstorms and that normal Tennessee springtime weather. So I definitely want to get this thing in the shop. Today, tomorrow is my window to get this thing in the shop. So that's our goal. So let's get after it. folks out there watching these revival videos and people working on cars, and you see us making it look like it's a lot of fun. You think, man, I think I'd like to do that. Well, do something different. Alright. So you guys seen from the initial picture, this thing was kind of sitting in the dirt when I got it. It had been there for a while. Didn't even have a wheel on this side. So of course, as soon as I tried to take the bolts out of the tank straps to drop the tank, the stake nut that was in the frame rail that holds those bolts for the straps broke loose. They're just spinning. So now I got to get in there and cut the bolts off. Then I got to figure out how to put the bolts back in, if I can even figure something out. And I will. I'll get something figured out. But man, yeah, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Working on cars is fun. All right, let's go. Okay. What you want to do before you try to pull a fuel tank out is make sure that it's got a lot of fuel in it. That way it's extra heavy and a whole lot harder to handle. And then you can drop it on your head or whatever, get fuel in your eyes. You guys seen me do that before. It washes them out, gets them good and clean, clears them up. Good stuff. Okay, got over inside the bed and took that connector loose where the wire plugs in for the fuel pump. I was kind of hid down behind the bedside trying to reach under there and do that, so I cut that part out. Got my jack under the rear end again. I'm going to jack this thing up and see if I can get that drum off. And then we'll take a look behind the drum and see if I'm going to have to buy some brakes or brake hardware or something like that. Because as you guys saw from earlier in the video, this hub was buried about 3 inches up in the mud when I went over there to get the truck. So maybe the hardware on the inside's still good, but I don't know. Got to be able to get the drum off to be able to tell. The rest of the wheels, and it may need brakes all the way around. I don't know, because I just don't know yet, because until I do something with this one, there's no point in hitting the brake pedal. So that's what we're going to do. All right, so I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna jack it up a little bit further, then I'm gonna put some blocks under the rear end, under the differential part, so I can let the weight off the jack, get the jack out of the way, and then I can get on the back side and beat on the drum and try to break it loose. I don't want to do that without the truck supported properly, because right now that little jack is not super stable, so I'm not going to get under the truck with that on like that. So I'm going to block this thing up, and then we're going to get under there and try to beat on it. Okay. About threw my shoulder out with that little 2-pound hammer, 3-pound hammer, I don't know. So, time to bring out the big guns. Got my big hammer. Just gotta get under there and see if I can get myself in a position where I can swing it. Throw my other shoulder out, and then we'll have this drum off. Alright, got the drum off there. Knocked a couple of chips in the ring on the backside. That's not going to hurt anything. About the only hardware I destroyed was the pins that go through, because I ground them off on the back to release the tension off the brake shoes. So they ain't get a hardware kit, and the brake shoes are actually still got a lot of life left in them, so I'm going to try to clean them up. And then all it was where this thing was sitting in the mud, it had corroded and got stuck. Now that I've got it unstuck, I can clean it off. I think I can take some sandpaper, clean up the drum. It's not grooved or anything, it's just got corrosion on it, so I'll clean it up with some sandpaper. If I can get some hardware, I'll be able to put the back brakes back together on this side, and that should have it where everything will work. Okay, so absolutely it's not the same tank. I watched them pull it up on the computer, and we pulled up the one for the correct truck. So what I am guessing is going on here is, from the factory, this had a large capacity tank specified. That tank that I ordered, I'm almost positive that when we pulled it up, it said it was a 25-gallon tank. So obviously the factory tank that they had in this thing is a 35-gallon. But looking at the height, they're both about the same height. And if you look at where the straps go, the strap locations look like they're the same. So the filler neck location is the same. I am positive that this is going to work. So the thing that I'm not going to be able to do, there's some kind of cover on the bottom of that factory tank that was probably protecting it in some way underneath. So I won't be able to reuse that. You know what? I don't even care. The bigger tank was probably going to be more expensive anyway, and let's be honest, if this is going to be used as a hunting truck or a farm truck or running around, I mean, nobody's going to need more than 25-gallon fuel capacity for this truck anyway. So I am going to make this work. Got the tank strap bolts started. Just started by hand up in there. Before I tighten anything down, I'm going to jump up here in the bed of the truck and hook up the lines, because right now I can still kind of move the tank around a little bit. That way, if I need to do that, I can, but I'm going to get everything hooked up top, and then I'll get down there and tighten the straps up. Then that'll be installation complete on the tank and the pump. Then all I got to do is put a fuel filter on it, and then I'll have to go to town and get some fuel. But all right, let me jump up here in the back of the truck. All right, got everything hooked up. Got the electrical connector hooked up and the bolt put back in for the ground strap, and the strap that holds the harness in place. So now I'm going to get under there and tighten up the fuel tank straps to the frame, and I'll have this part of the job done. Alright, so got the battery hooked back up. I put some fuel in it. I have not turned the key yet to see if I can hear the pump running. So we're gonna turn the key on, see if the pump runs, see if it's leaking at the fuel filter, which I'm 50-50 whether I think that's gonna happen or not. And then we're gonna try to get this thing started up. Alright, so I did hear the pump run. I know there's probably some crappy fuel still in the line coming up to the throttle body. I didn't have any left in it. So I was going to pour a little bit of fresh fuel in the throttle body just to, for the initial startup. See if we can get it to run a little bit. Way too much. Anything dripping down there yet? Alright, so now it seems like we're not getting any spark, even though I had this thing running. It only hit one time, so that makes me think I got a spark issue. Let me grab a couple of things that I can use to test with, and I'll get back on it. Alright, so I did say earlier in the video, by the way, have I told all you guys, all my tens of subscribers, how much I love working on modern fuel injection engines? I don't. I hate it. Anyway, told you guys earlier in the video that before I started throwing parts at this thing and spending money on it, that I had hooked my little jumper wires up, sprayed some brake clean in the throttle body, and turned it over, and it fired up. And I kept it running for a second, long enough to hear the engine run and make sure it wasn't knocking and smoking and all that stuff. So, as you guys saw a little bit earlier, I had the fuel pump, fuel tank, fuel filter, all that installed, and I'm cranking, it won't start. So here I am throwing some more parts at it. I pulled the spark plug out, laid it up there. I wasn't getting any fire, so I ran to the parts store and got a coil. I did check with my voltmeter and make sure I was getting 12 volts to the coil. I got a coil and a distributor. I was hoping that just the coil would fix it. So I threw the coil on it. Of course, that didn't fix it. So I popped the distributor cap off, and I'm going to show you guys what I found when I popped the distributor cap off. I wish I hadn't had to spend the money, but I'm glad I went ahead and bought a distributor while I was there. So let me show you. Probably a little hard to see under here, but once I pop the distributor cap off, this thing's been sitting so long, everything's just really corroded. So I'm just going to assume that the ignition module and probably the pickup coil are both bad on this distributor, and it probably did work just long enough for me to fire it up and hear it run, which I'm glad it did. But now I'm gonna clean this area up, try to get all the mouse droppings and acorns out from around the distributor. I already got my new coil in here. I'm gonna pop that distributor out, put a new distributor in. I've already rotated the engine around, got my rotor button pointing at number 1. So I'm gonna pop that out, pop the other one in, and hopefully get this thing going here in a few minutes. All right, guys, got the distributor in, got the plug wires on, I got everything kind of set. It's been a crazy day, so we'll see if this thing will fire up. All right, got you guys over here where you can see the engine. I know some of the stuff I did today, let me get back a little bit. Some of the stuff I did today, I didn't film it. Just a lot of tedious stuff, but mainly because I don't have the right equipment to have the camera over in here to show you guys what I'm doing. So when I did a distributor, a coil, got everything back in there like it's supposed to be. Fuel pump, fuel tank, fuel filter. Now we're going to see if this thing will start and run. All right, so it does have a little bit of a noise. Also blew some dirt in my eyes. Has a little bit of a noise in the engine, but this thing hasn't ran. Who knows how long? I don't know. The last time it had a tag put on it was 2017. So 2017, 2018. So it's been 5 or 6 years since it's been started up and ran. Overall, I think it sounds pretty good. It's not missing or anything. So if it's got a little lifter pack, you know, that may come out of it. It may quieten down once we change the oil. I haven't even checked the oil. Rand Paul has already expressed his disgust with the budgetary cycle and the continuing resolution, saying that if we really are interested in cutting out some of these poor projects, we need to do it right now with the CR. I don't believe that we have the ammunition. So it does run. I'm going to get the air filter and everything put back on it, and I'm not going to run it much more right this second. I kind of got everything hooked up. I'm going to take my starter button off of it because now it's running, so I can start it from inside the truck, turn it off from inside the truck. I need my starter button on a different project right now anyway. I'm going to try to see if I got about 15 or 20 minutes of daylight left. I might be able to get the brake hardware put back on, or I may just call it a day, clean up all my tools, and we'll finish this thing up tomorrow morning. Anyway, I'm going to put the air cleaner back on so that I can fire it up and then rev up the engine a little bit and see what it does. Hey y'all. Alright, so back at it today. I'm going to try to knock these brakes out real quick. That's really the only thing I got left to do, I think, to make this thing drivable. So the wind's whipping around pretty good here today in Tennessee because we got some storms coming in tomorrow. And I don't like the wind noise howling through the microphone on my phone. So what I'm probably going to do is point the camera toward what I'm working on, because I'm just putting the brakes back together anyway. I got to sand the drum, sand the pads, clean everything up real good, and then I'll be able to put the drum back on, put the wheel back on, and we're going to get this thing sitting down on the ground and see if the transmission actually will move the vehicle. So all right, we're going to get after it. Alright, got everything put back together. It fired right up today. Put a little bit of air in the front tires. We're not getting on the road. Just gonna go around the hayfield, make sure the transmission works. But here we are. This thing, I was telling you, there it is. Last time it had a tag put on it, 2017, February of 17. It is March of 2025 right now, so it's been 8 years since that tag expired. I can only assume that it hasn't been on the road since then. So we are fixing to jump in it right now and see if it'll move under its own power for the first time in who knows how long. I don't know that I've talked much about the interior of this thing, but the dash is cracked. Got a couple of places. I think I can patch that up with one of those dash patch kits. Yeah, so that won't be a problem. I can patch that up. I got this fancy console that takes up part of the driver's area, but look at this. Money, man. I am money ahead right now. There's at least 45 cents there, 40 cents. All right, and check this out. Still wired up to something. Got me a Kenwood high power stereo amplifier. I'm sure it works. All right, get this. At least it does have an armrest. All right. This thing acts like it's got brakes. So I'm gonna believe for the moment that it does. So. Ooh, went into reverse. Okay, hopefully it was about a quart low transmission fluid, so I'm hoping that's all it was. Because it takes gear good. Oh yeah, here we go. Oh yeah, we're moving. How good we're moving. We're moving. Moving under its own power. Alright. Let me put the phone down so I can cut around to the hayfield. So here we are. You guys are, alright, it changed into second gear. I'm going to stop right here going up this little incline and see if it'll take off. Since it seems to be, and it could be, you know, guys, this is the first time this thing's been driven in a long time. Might have some valves sticking. I probably will drop the pan, put a filter kit on it, put some fresh fluid in it. All right. It didn't really seem like it hesitated. All right. About as fast as I can get going in my field. But it gets going and changes into second gear, so, and the brakes are working. The brake light is on in the dash, but I don't know what that means. All right, so very successful. I'm gonna try to get this thing put in the shop because the storms are coming and I really need to get some more work done on it. So get back over toward the house. I've got to move some stuff around. I'll turn the cameras off for all that, get everything moved around, and get this thing in the shop, and I'll see if I can get anything else done this week. But the goal when I started this video was to make this thing run and drive under its own power this week. Mission successful. Been a few times that I've turned the camera off because this is supposed to be fun videos, and there was a time or two that I wasn't having any fun. So, you know, turn the video off for a minute so I could vent my frustration, then turn the video back on. There's a few trying moments, but got this 91 Chevy, this 91 GMC Sierra SL 2500 4-wheel drive mojoing. Actually, I think one more thing I'm going to try to do before I go back over to the shop. Still got a little bit of stuff I need to address, but here gonna put this thing in 4 low. All right, went out there and played around a little bit. Got it warmed up a little bit. Still got good oil pressure. Alternator's charging. Gas gauge is working. I really didn't look to see if the speedometer was working, but I'm gonna assume since everything else does, it is too. No, actually, speedometer may not be working because the trip meter's still sitting on zeros. All right, let me get out and see what's leaking, if anything. Hopefully not much. So, right. So, I'm about to run out of time for this week, but got the truck in here on the lift, got it up in the air, and pretty sure I mentioned earlier in the video that I kind of felt like this thing was going to leak fuel because the O-rings on the fuel lines looked terrible. And guess what? There it is, leaking fuel. So now I get to get soaked with fuel while I take that back apart and attempt to put a new O-ring on there. All right. 99% sure I'm going to bump my head on something. The other hat I had on is still relatively clean. At some point it'll get dirty and then I won't care if I get grease on it. But I figured I'd throw it over there for a second and put one of my welding hats on just so I can bang my head on the underside of this truck several times while I'm trying to change this fuel filter. So let me get my O-rings. Get everything tightened back up. It doesn't appear to be leaking at the moment, but probably won't really know till we put the battery back in, turn it on, get some pressure built up. All right, guys. I moved everything around, let this thing down off the lift, hooked up the battery, fired it up, and of course it's leaking because I could tell when I put those O-rings on there, they're the wrong ones. So anyway, all that fighting with the fuel filter to get it off and back on while gasoline pouring down my arms for nothing because the guy at the parts store didn't know how to look up O-rings for a fuel filter, but that's okay. We'll get the right ones, but I'm out of time for this week. So what we're going to do, I've got a clamp on the fuel line to try to keep it from leaking too much because I don't want to leak all the fuel out of my fuel tank because for one thing, fuel is expensive, and for another thing, it's just I don't want fuel leaking in my shop. So I'm going to try to come up with the correct O-rings, and I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing for next week. So for you guys that are watching, my tens of subscribers, this week's video, getting this truck back running was successful. That's great. I still got a lot of work left to do on this thing, but I'm not sure that I'm going to do it this coming week. I may jump back on War Machine and work on that a little bit. I may work on something else. I don't know what I'm going to do because here it is. It's Friday. My video is supposed to be coming out today, and I haven't even started putting it together yet. So kids, grandkids, tens of subscribers. Maybe a little late getting this one out there, but if you're watching my channel, I appreciate it. If this is your first time watching my channel, hit that subscribe button, like, share, tell your buddies about it. I've got a couple more revival videos already that I need to do because I've got some more junk Chevy trucks that I need to work on. So you guys stay tuned. We're gonna, over the next few weeks, we're gonna try to get War Machine running. We're gonna try to get this thing finished up. And who knows what else we're going to work on. I don't know, but we'll figure something out. So once again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next week.